Didn't mean to do that. And I believe we are live. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. My computer is buffering, so hopefully that's just a slow load. Yes, do tell us, Kat, what kind of wine do you have? Woo. Oops. I put a piece of popcorn in my mouth and realized. That's right. In your ears. Shoot. And we are live. Rosé. Now, is rosé bitter or is it sweet? Because I can't stand haggling. Let me just say a quick hello to everyone. Let's see. Let's go up. Bernadette, hello. Tara, hello. Autumn was here. Don't know if she still is, but hello if you are listening. Phantom Zone, hello. Gling, I said hello. Cats, did I say hello? Kahlest, hello. Evan the Nerd, hello. Happy New Year. It's only 8 p.m. there, huh? Roger Hensley, hello. Happy New Year. What are you guys up to this evening? Are you guys all at home? Because, I mean, you don't have to be at home to listen to a live stream. I'm in sweatpants and a zip-up hoodie, which is pretty close to pajamas anyways, so. What's up, Brian? Holy moly. I think you made a live stream a couple weeks ago, too, so hello. Try to give everybody, like, enough time to come because I thought it'd be a good time to hang out because it's not a normal hangout time, so I thought it may be better in general, except for UK folks probably won't be able to join because it's, what, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning there? The day after New Year's Eve there, right? Yeah. Hey, Element. Hello. Nice. I won't make my fancy food till tomorrow. I'll make a chicken and some shrimp and hot sauce. Excellent. We do have to finish the Westmary experiment, I believe, Evan the Nerd. I will get in touch with you about that. Left everybody hanging, including myself. I'm sorry about that. Hanging out with my cat. Nothing wrong with that. It's safe at home. Yeah, so if anyone's listening and you decide to drink and drive, don't. That's my speech on that. Yeah, I can't wait to finish the story myself. I want to know what happens. Drinking ginger ale. Hey, I have ginger ale in front of me, too. Well, we're all hanging out together, really, so. Virtually speaking. Oh, do tell. What is your question? Drum roll. I moved my office around today. I moved it around like in the middle of summer and tried to like downsize everything, and then I made it too awkward and weird, and I didn't have any desk space, and my recording spot was in a weird spot. For like 6 months, every time I would record, it felt so strange. But I moved it back around to a different way today, and I have so much more room, and it's just like the perfect spot. So I feel good. So drinking coconut mango iced tea made myself. Everyone's so healthy. Yes. Well, because Coca-Cola is pop. Angel Adams, hello. Ginger ale. Yes, it is good. Oh, narrating vibes, eh? That's very important. Yes, it is. Like, because I got these like smaller desks that I don't know. Like they were too small, and I was trying to make it. I tried to get too minimalist. I went too far, and I ruined my vibes. So you can say, can I have a pop? Well, you go to someone's house and, that they say, would you like something to drink? And then you say, do you have any pop? And they'll say, yeah. And then you say, what kind? And then they would say, Pepsi, Coke, Verner's. Let's see, what's in our fridge right now? Diet Pepsi, Diet Cherry Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, ginger ale, and Coke. Just a couple cans of each. A lot of people call it pop here, but I call it soda. Soda and pop are the same thing. It's when everyone calls it a Coke, then I think Coca-Cola. That's what we call a Coke. Coca-Cola is Coke. So tell me. Now, I don't really believe in resolutions per se, but do you guys have any, I set goals for myself. I'm very goal-oriented. I'm not, shove people down to set my goals type of person, but I like to set goals for myself, and I'm a list maker. So I'm just curious if anybody else has, goals that they set for themselves this year. I do it every year, and I find that, if I can't make it happen, I don't feel bad, but I do feel like the years that I set goals, realistic goals, mind you, but there's nothing wrong with being a crazy dreamer, because I'm that too. I mean, yeah, win the lottery? Hell yeah. It happens to people. It's not unrealistic. Everybody that wins a ticket or buys a ticket could win, so it's not unrealistic, but hey, whatever. Let's see. That's a cold pop from Ain't Nobody Got Time for That Woman video meme. I'm enlightened. I'm caught between listening to this and watching some Twilight Zone. Oh, just be a better person this year than I was last year. That's always my goal each day. I can't even do a whole year. I got to do it a day. Sometimes I have to do it an hour at a time because people test you. Anyway, I prefer to have goals and start right away, but for 2019, I guess I want to do better than this year. I feel like the new year gives you a mental slate, if you will. And that's why I think people want, when it's a new year, they say new year, new me. Well, don't change who you are. You learn from your mistakes. They say, you ever see those commercials where somebody lost 100 pounds and they show no more that old me, and they put down the person that they were before. That person before is just as deserving of love as the person that they became. So I can't stand that. Don't put down your past self. That past self is making your future self. Take it all with you. Let it grow. Let the momentum grow, the good grow. I started to journal I think it was, I got one for Christmas because I always get everybody pens and paper for Christmas, and my husband got me because I'm a list maker. I like to write things down. I have a dream journal, blah, 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 blah. Morbidly Curious, hello. Try to set realistic goals. Anyways, I'm going to read that in a second, but because I had such a rough year, those of you that are here on the regular know. But anyway, I had a rough year this year, and so I wanted to start journaling every day, but everybody, it's easy to complain. Complaining is super, super easy. And you notice that it's really hard to take a shit day. And even if the only thing that's good out of that day is that you made it out alive, write it down. And I'm not a guru and I'm not an expert and I have no right giving anybody advice. Most people don't, no matter who they think they are. But I think one way to have a positive outlook the next day is to take at least one good thing about the day you had today. Don't complain about it, and definitely don't write a complaint down in black and white and ink. Take something good from that and let it carry into the next day. Let that one good thing carry into the next day. And yeah, this is a channel that talks about dark stuff, but I also have a tattoo of a yin yang on my arm because you can't have dark without the light and vice versa, if that makes sense. So anyways, blah, blah, blah. Let me scroll up and read. So I try to sit, really connect with stories and midnight verse. Cool. Lottery scratch tickets. I watched the lottery, My Lottery Dream House, and 50% of those people that won off of a scratch ticket. Something that they did weekly or daily. Not even gonna lie. And there was a guy talking about that. I can't remember who it was. I listen to all kinds of channels on YouTube. Everything you can think of, wackadoo, if you want to call it, whatever. People that are dream setters, and they said one thing that all lottery winners had in common, they all truly believed that they were going to win at some point. So anyway, that's my speech about that. Morbidly Curious said, I try to set realistic goals now, or goals that can be accomplished over the year. I used to try to put pressure on myself. Yes, I don't do that either. I don't put pressure on myself to do it. I write it down, and then I try to take small steps each day to get to that. And I try my hardest. I don't beat myself up if I can't accomplish it, but I still try. Because the only time you're a loser is when you don't try, right? Or when you give up. I agree. You shouldn't just deny your past self and then treat them as a failure. No, because you're not a failure. You're in process. You're always loading, if that makes sense. How some of you say that, never be ashamed of who you are. Right. I'm trying to catch up on the comments. Every morning I pick 5 things I am grateful for. I can't see what I'm typing. I don't know. Ed wants to know if your husband knows you're yin yang. Yeah. Yeah, he was there when I got my tattoo, and he thought it was hilarious because the guy, like, I need to get it redone because the guy that did it kind of like, he did it. It almost like he looked like he was carving it into my arm. And I'm somebody that like starts to laugh when something's uncomfortable. It's really awkward. So I'm like, like I was doing that while he was carving it, and it was so funny to everybody around me because it was uncontrollable. I couldn't even. Oh, what was your question, Tara? I'm sorry. When people start to chat, it starts to go up. So when I scroll up, I can only scroll up for so long before it starts feeding itself back. It doesn't matter if you talk about dark stuff. Some people like dark stuff. That doesn't mean anything. I love the supernatural. Yeah, Terry, just repeat your question because I don't know what it was. Trying to save more money. Good. He. I feel like I'm missing comments too. But Tara, I'm going to try and scroll up and see what your question was. I don't see it. Yeah, you just have to type it again. Have some stories set aside for us. Is everybody still here? I'm not seeing anything in the chat. I don't know if it like stopped on its own or what. Sometimes it'll like freeze and then all of a sudden feed into it. It's really weird. Also, I have sent an email to Hex Wando, the art contest winner, finally. And so as soon as he sends me an email back, I'm going to put his art on the channel banner. excuse me. And put up some merch that's at cost, that's got the the piece of art that he made for the channel. And if you ever get the chance to go to that fancy New Year's Eve party, what would you wear? I don't know. I'd really want to if I went to the fancy New Year's Eve party that I talk about. I said earlier that just one time I want to go to one of those fancy New Year's Eve parties. Just one time. I'm good. Then I want to get the heck out of there. But I don't know. Something super glittery. Just over the top. Just gaudy and obnoxious. I'd wear my old skin, Tara. That's what Evan the Nerd said, in case anyone's listening to the spec. When do you think aliens will be disclosed to the public? I think it'll just phase itself in, and they'll be like, oh yeah, we knew that. And that'll be it. I don't think it'll be shocking. Have any of you ever watched a live stream from Rob Dyke? So weird. I think he's stoned the whole time. Maybe. I mean, it's legal where I live, so no judgment here. Let me see here. I would wear either a pink or white dress. By the way, good stories the other night. Thank you, thank you. Mean Saturday? I had the best time making that footage, by the way. It turned out, I wanted it to be a little more dramatic, but it turned out exactly what I was picturing. Sorry, I munched into the microphone. I can't help it. Thank you. I found for us tonight, actually I found a bunch of stuff, but these are 33 supernatural stories, which I thought we were going to read last time and we never got to them. And I found something else too, so let me just glance at that and make sure we haven't read it. Holy crap. Yeah. Let me read a couple of these. There's a bunch of them, but let me see what this is. Let's see if this is you tell me if you think this is a true story or, because it doesn't say they're true stories. It just says 67. Oh no, it says 67 true scariest to tell in the dark. Dun, dun, dun. All right, let's see if I've read these before. I'll read you guys the first one and you tell me if you've heard it before. It's called Making Toast. Making toast late one night, facing the kitchen bench, eating for a good 5-10 minutes. Gotta move that away from my mouth real quick. Okay. Cleaned up and turned around, and every single cupboard door and cutlery drawer were open. They were all closed when I went into the kitchen. And there was no way anyone could have snuck in and done it because I was home alone. I didn't hear them open in the time I was there. Scared the shit out of me, so I froze. Let it register for a few seconds. Then calmly closed everything and went back to my room to hide until daylight. One of a few weird things to happen growing up. Let me see the vote. Have I read this to you before? I don't think I've ever read that, so. Hey, Harry Reeds. Hello, will you please do more possession stories? If I can find them. Definitely want to do more Ouija board stories. Ooh, I haven't done those in a while. All right, we're moving on to the next one. This one's called Pig Mask. So let me see here. It's a little echoey where I'm at. I'm gonna have to get like a thicker rug and something to put down on the desk. I did notice when I did the stories for last Saturday that there was an echo in my audio and I couldn't get it out no matter what I did. And that drove me crazy. I'd literally spent an hour like messing around with it. And if I would have messed around with it anymore, I would have ruined all of the audio that I did. So I had to leave it in there and that bothered me so much. And I can't believe anyone didn't complain about that. You guys are troopers. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but I did. So, oh. Nope, I don't play with Ouija boards. They're not allowed in my house because the spirit world isn't a game. Yeah. You need to go watch my Ouija board videos to know how I feel about that. I'm all for telling the stories, but those things are not allowed in my house. All right, Pig Mask. So our old house was on a corner, and in lieu of a backyard, had a side yard with a small deck that wrapped around to the back. The dining room had patio doors that led out to the back, and we would have barbecues and such back there. When I was 14, we only had one desktop computer and one laptop for the family. My brother and I would fight over the desktop. That's where Diablo 2 was installed, so I would use the laptop to write music. On one particular night, my brother had a friend over and they were downstairs doing whatever. and I was at the dining room table on the laptop. As I was wrapping up my writing, I didn't pay much attention to my surroundings. I heard a knock on the patio door, which startled me. So I looked up, expecting my brother or his friend. The basement had a door that led to the back deck as well. Standing at the door and waving was a person, could not tell sex or age, wearing a Halloween pig mask. Thinking it was my brother and his friend, I mouthed, "Good one," and gave the person the finger, and they walked away. As soon as they left, I went downstairs to give them shit, and to my surprise and dismay, they were both sitting on the couch playing PlayStation. They swore up and down it wasn't either of them, and there was no way one of them had time to go downstairs and get unmasked before getting on the couch. And to this day, I have no idea who it was that knocked and waved. Holy shit. You guys tell me what you would have done. If I thought that was my brother, I probably would have charged at it, went outside and kicked him person in the crotch. What's the theme? The theme is 67 true scariest to tell in the dark. On a pig mask? No, these are true. This one's short. It says last day on Earth. So I worked from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. at a gas station in one of the nicer cities around here. Doesn't say where that is. And I had a gentleman look me in the eyes and asked if I'm enjoying my last day on Earth. He walked away before I could answer. Holy shit. I'd be looking for that guy for the unforeseeable future, leaving work. I know. Have a pig roast. Yes. When your house becomes haunted from the Ouija board, make sure you write it in so I can tell the story so we can all hear what happened, Angel. I really hope nothing happens to you, really. But I do want to know if something happens. Like anything, if you have any kind of contact or anything. So this next one's called I'm Still Here. So I came home pretty late one night, and my roommate's bedroom was shut, and I assumed she was sleeping already, but I saw something out of the corner of my eye in the kitchen. I said her name, but she didn't answer. I didn't think anything of it, so I walked into my room, and before I turned on the light, something whispered, "I'm still here." I turned on the light in my room, but nothing was there, so I turned on every light in the house, knocked on my roommate's door, and eventually opened it. But she wasn't there. So I left her light on and slept with all the lights on. When she came back the next morning, I asked her if she was messing with me, and she started crying and said she left because something was in the house messing with her, and she had to get out. But she didn't tell her. Jesus. I have to get out of here and save myself. You're on your own. See you later. It was close to 12/21/12. That goes lad. That's what us Hawaiians do. Oh yeah. It's called a luau. I would like to see one of those in my lifetime too. Just one. All right. Raising a serial killer. Whoa. So we, meaning me, my wife, and my 3-year-old son, are sitting in the food court at Costco. There's another family with a 4 or 5-year-old girl sitting behind us. My son looks at me and says, "Do you see that girl over there? I'm going to teach her a lesson." So I'm taken back for a second when I think he must intend to teach her numbers or some other normal thing you teach people. So I ask her what he's going to teach her. His response, "I'm going to teach her to drown." What? That's where it ends? Like, you didn't call a therapist the next day for your psycho child? Oh my God. That's terrifying. Oh, people here do that. People, like, deer season is a big thing here. Hunters, widows, specials at the bars, weekends. It's a big thing here. Everyone thought that the world was going to end. Oh, yeah, that's right. Thought that was 12, 12, 12. I love Costco food. Such an ending. Duchess Dark, you said a bad word. Oh, yeah, I do all the time. I swear like a mofo. It's a running joke with anyone that knows me. Anyways. And if you don't know this, I'm not a regular church attender now. I tried. I just couldn't do it. It gave me too much anxiety. But I was raised in the church, okay? Raised. Like, all of the Christian guilt that you can muster and think of, I had it, okay? And there's one thing that sticks with me still, and that is that the only real swear words were God damn it and Jesus Christ, and everything else is just made up gibberish bullshit by someone else. So, yeah. Anyway, a little bit about my messed up mind. This one's called They Knew. A family friend of mine used to work in private wealth management. One of her jobs was diversification of her clients' assets on the stock market. Out of nowhere, she gets a call from a representative of one of her big private clients to sell all of the stocks of a big airline and move the liquidity somewhere else. No buts. And if they needed, they could sell up to 5% below market as long as the shares sold quickly. This was extremely weird, as the stock price of the company was pretty stable. And specifically, this client's portfolio was heavily hedged with this stake. But she didn't think much of it. Oftentimes, her clients did this for personal reasons, such as having a bad experience on a plane or the company or etc. 2 days later, one of her colleagues that she shared this peculiar story told her how the airline stock prices started soaring, slowly but surely falling. Some people were selling off their shares too, which were gladly bought by the market at increasing prices. The next day, a American Airlines Flight 11 crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York, and the stock market was closed for another week. Whoa. That's odd. That's really crazy. Doesn't that mean that that person would have, like, inside information? Oh my God. That's not scary. That's like a federal information, isn't that? I don't know. Somebody who's more versed in the law at a federal level would have to let me know about that. Holy crap. Oh God, she meant hang out. Come on now. I haven't had anything to drink, so 3 glasses of wine. You know what's funny is it doesn't do much for me. It makes me tired and gives me a headache. So, yeah. This next one's called Hello. I went camping by myself in Maine. One night I woke up at like 3 a.m. Not being able to fall asleep, I just lay there listening to the woods. Then I heard a faint hello. I was petrified. I felt so vulnerable in the tent. I never figured out what it was. What? Why would you go camping by yourself? You raise your hand if you have went camping by yourself. Oh, mate, you can't because you died in the woods. Oh my God. I don't need alcohol to act like a moron. I'm all set in that department. It's completely sober. I can act like a fool. I can have an intelligent conversation and or act like a buffoon with 0 alcohol. That should make you all feel better about yourselves right now. Would you like to come live in my basement? That's the title of the next one. So, when I was 17 and worked in retail as a cashier, I had a very old couple come through my line buying a wok. The husband, who was at least 85, started making conversation with me about the wok and asked if I liked Chinese food. Yeah, I like Chinese. Do you want to go out with me to get some Chinese? He winks at me. No, sir. Oh, well. He looks a bit disappointed and turns to look at his wife, who's on the phone with someone. He says, would you at least like to come home with me and live in my basement? I stare at him. I say, no. The rest of the transaction took place in a terrified silence. His wife never said a word. I wonder to this day if he was trying to joke because he sounded so sincere, or if he was suffering from dementia or something else that made him not realize how creepy that sounds to someone young enough to be your great-grandchild. Oh no, I believe that's how some people end up in people's basements, so yeah. Nothing for me, it's strong. See if I can catch up to the chat here. I'm losing them. If any place on Earth is haunted, it would be Ground Zero for sure. Yikes. Well, I mean, not to belittle that act, but there are other countries who have activity like that on the daily. So I would think that would be way more haunted than a place where a massive act like that happened one time, where there's countries where that happens multiple times. They live in that chaos nonstop. Yeah. I think any place that's had a very traumatic event happen where lives are just wiped out suddenly is going to have some sort of imprint on it, you know. It's going to leave a mark. Literally and metaphysically, if that makes sense. Okay, let's get back to the stories. This one's called Followed. So the summer after I graduated from high school, I left work early and went up to my parents' cabin in northern Michigan. Spent that night at the beach watching the sunset. Once the sun went down and it became nearly pitch black, no light pollution, I got to my car and started driving down the highway M22. After about 10 seconds of being at speed, there was an older Tahoe, late 90s, that started riding my ass and flashing its high beams. I'm going to pause the story because that's every trip down US 23. And unpause. So I got up to about 60 in a 45, still on my ass. I pulled off to the side of the road that my parents' cabin is off of, and they took the same turn. Thought that seemed weird because there's only 30 or 40 houses on the road. So I went all the way to the end, which is usually a dead end, but leads to a maintenance area for a golf course nearby. Truck was still following me. At this point, I was freaking out because if I pulled into the house, they'd know where we lived, and they were still following close by. I took a ton of random turns, and the truck kept following every single turn for about 15 minutes. I finally had a chance to make a turn with traffic going through the intersection that gave me a few seconds of a head start. Pulled down a side street, went up 100 yards, turned off all my lights and waited. Truck slowly drove by the perpendicular street and kept going. Booked it home, pulled my car around the side away from the main road, and pulled every curtain. For an 18-year-old, I was scared as hell that night. I mean, okay, so number one, they say if you are in an opportunity to go like around a block, if you make 4 left or 4 right-hand turns and the car is still following you, if you went in a complete circle, they are definitely following you. Number 2, I don't know about you, but I would have stopped my car. No one's gonna scare me and do that. No way. Hone Tran, hello. Brian Mathis, hello. If anybody else is here and I didn't say hello to you, I'm really sorry. I'm reading stories for you guys, so might have missed ya. Axeman Cartoons. Hello. Hello. Did I miss anybody else? Just glancing up. I say bad words so eloquently. Brian Morrow, I just happened to see that. That's definitely debatable, but Bernie is from Hawaii but lives in Colorado. Okay, we are reading 67 true scary stories to tell in the dark, and I've lost count of where we're at, but we've only been reading for about 20 minutes, so fair warning when it gets like 2 minutes before midnight my time. I want to count down to midnight, but then I'll go back to reading stories. So, okay. This one's called Bark. This actually happened fairly recently. I was home alone one day with my dog and two of my dog's friends. Out of nowhere, they all started barking and looking up toward our loft. As they're quieting down, I hear someone in a mocking, calm tone say, "Bark." They start going crazy again, and I decide it's time for a long evening walk. What? You didn't check your loft to see if it was something? Okay. I don't know. Would you guys just like go outside or would you look at your loft? Hello, hello. Oh, no. Whoa. 2 minutes to midnight. It's like 22 minutes to midnight here. Okay, back to the stories. I'm going to get distracted. Squirreling up. Okay. Evil Twin. This one's called Evil Twin. So, New Year's Day, 1995. I was in the middle of third year university, and a bunch of friends had come down. Blah, blah, blah. Let me start that over. And a bunch of friends had come down to visit me and my roommate for the festivities. We were all pretty hungover from drinking the night before and went out for the usual day out, a bit chilly, I don't feel so good. Post greasy breakfast, hungover stroll around the neighborhood. If you could get all that, that was a mouthful. So two of these friends were twin brothers. One of them, we all hung out all the time. The other, we just met for the first time. He was pretty normal the night before, joining the fun, but on this day, we were all hanging around a local basketball court shooting hoops with an old basketball we found in the grass. And his twin brother kept following me all over the place with the creepiest grin I've ever seen in my life, staring right into the nether regions of my soul the entire time. I'd back away and join the group again, and he'd keep following me around. So when we were walking back to the apartment, it's just me and him walking down the sidewalk behind the group, and he moved over in front of me, stared at me with that creepy look again, and fell down to his knees as if to worship me or something. I didn't know what to do. "Hey, buddy, you all right? We're heading back now, right?" And so on. He wouldn't say anything. He'd just be there on his knees, looking up at me with a clenched face and squinted eyes, as if we were looking directly into the sun or something. Later that day, my roomie said he was tripping balls, so I thought nothing of it and moved on with my life. A few weeks later, we got a phone call from the twin brother we usually hung out with, and it turned out that his other twin brother went over to his aunt's place with a knife and stabbed her 14 times. She didn't die, but still pretty bad. That's not me saying this. This is how they wrote this, by the way. He had even called the police before going because he knew he was going to do it, but couldn't stop himself from doing it because, the voices and so on. So the ensuing court case was widely covered in media, as this was a relatively smaller community where this sort of thing doesn't happen on a regular basis. I'm going to pause it. Does this regularly happen anywhere where a twin goes psycho and stabs his aunt 14 times? Never heard it before. Unpause. I was reading one of the articles, and one of the testimonies was that this twin brother was severely schizophrenic and was hearing voices in his head. He believed to his very bones that his aunt was the devil and that he had been commanded by God to go and kill her. So who was this God that told him to go kill her? Well, as the newspaper article described, it was a guy in a group he hung out with on New Year's Day. Didn't take me long to realize that he was talking about me. This was 22 years ago, and I know for a fact it was a mental illness, but just knowing that I had somehow commanded him to go kill his aunt stays with me to this day. What? That's crazy. How do I stumble onto these stories? I can't even explain it. I don't even know how I find these. This is crazy. What? Hey, Crow. Happy New Year, weirdos. 22 minutes. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Woo. I'm just watching the comments scroll up for a second. Sometimes it takes mine just a second to go up. What now? Head back to get some Pakalolo. What's Pakalolo? Crazy ass stories. Yeah. All right. Let's read the next one. That one was nuts. I can't even believe that. This one's called Look Under the Bed, or Always Look Under the Bed. So, my great aunt lived way out in the boonies by an old southern prison. An old southern prison. This was before most people had TV. So she had been listening to the radio and found out that a violent rapist had escaped from prison nearby. She walked into her bedroom, had one of those old saggy mattresses, and felt something under the bed. She said it didn't feel right. She slowly got off the bed and called the police. When they arrived, they found the rapist under her bed, holding a knife from her kitchen. He told them he had been waiting for her to go to sleep so he could rape her and stab her to death. What? I mean, he just blatantly confessed? Son of a bitch. You have a twin brother? Is he a psychotic person? Is he psycho? I grew up in a I went to a school that had an unusually high amount of twins, and I swear there's always one there's only one set of twins. No, I'm sorry, there was two that were fraternal, but the rest of them were all identical. And when it came to the identical twins, there's always one distinguishing mark that's not, unless you really pay attention. If you know like identical twins, you know what I'm talking about. There's always like one indistinguishable thing about each twin that when you know them, you know exactly who it is. If you know what I mean. Anyway, someone was there. That's the name of the next one here. So we were living with my brother-in-law and his two teens when I was pregnant. He has an elevated house on quite a bit of a former hunting land, several miles down a country road. My husband works 7 to 6, and BIL works offshore for 14 days. So while he was at work, his kids stayed with their grandmother. Wait. Nice house, but it had a weird vibe. Chalked it up to my pregnancy hormones. The story starts out confusing, so I hope you guys could follow that because I really didn't. I don't know if I'm just getting tired or whatever. Anyway, so one day I'm home alone, was taking a shower, and felt someone staring at me. Stuck my head out and listened. Couldn't hear anyone in the house, so I resumed my shower. A while later, I heard the back door shut. I was standing in the kitchen, and I could see the door, which has no steps and was 6 inches from the ground. Door still locked. I told my husband about it that night, and he shrugged it off. We locked down, went to bed. I don't know how long I'd been asleep, but I woke up to the blankets being yanked off the bed and my husband flipping on every light in the house. He threw open every door, every cabinet, looked in every pantry or closet while holding his handgun. I asked what was going on, and he swore he heard boots thumping through the house and someone talking. Everything was still locked. And it's not a big house. Nobody was there except us. One night a while later, my niece came into our room. Her dad worked over, and we had them for a few days. She asked to come sleep in bed with us. Now, this girl isn't scared of anything and was 14 at the time. I sat up, told my husband to scoot over, and patted my pillow. That's when I noticed that her 16-year-old brother curled up under a blanket on the floor beside me. Why are you both in our room at 2 in the morning? They didn't want to answer at first, but explained that something in my niece's room laughs at night. I hated that room when we moved in and put any laundry I did quickly in there. I asked my nephew why he was on the floor, and he said, she came into my room on the cot to sleep, but something started knocking on the door. We came down here as soon as it stopped. And again, my husband flipped on every light, looked in every nook and cranny. Nothing. Eventually, we moved out and the kids decided to live full-time with Grandma. My husband said he heard a man laughing in my niece's room, but there was nobody there when he turned on the lights. Scared the shit out of him. Whoa, that's crazy. I can't believe I've never heard these before. I don't know if you guys have heard them on someone else's channel by any chance. Let me know, but I have stumbled onto these and they're crazy. Your mom was a fraternal twin. Ooh. My comments are just like scrolling up. You have 2 brothers named Nick? Forever ago, I had I worked under a lady who had 2 boys that were a year apart, and they both had different dads, and she named them both after their dads. But guess what? Both the dads had the same name. Guess what? She named both boys the same thing, which I thought must have been the most confusing thing on the planet. Oh, that's cool. Okay, let me scroll up. Let me see. What did Crow say? Okay, I think I saw that before. Nick 1 and Nick 2. Yeah. Death metal. Okay, sorry. I was pausing. I was reading the comments for a second. This one's called I Was Almost a Hostage. Said that a little too cheerfully. I was walking down the street when I saw a rusty nail in the road. I picked it up and threw it into an empty house's yard. Not helpful, I know. After I threw the nail, a man came out of what I thought was an empty house and shouted at me. I freaked out, thinking it was about the nail, and kept walking toward my house. The guy didn't sound mad, but I couldn't make out what he was saying. He started following me to the street and gesturing for me to come over, but my gut told me to keep on walking. I get home and see from my house the empty house is now surrounded by cops. At this point, I still think it's about the nail. After a while, it gets worse, and the men in full gear show up. I found out later that the house was indeed empty. The men inside were known criminals, and I very much almost ended up a hostage. I don't know how you got to that point, about the hostage point. That was the stretch. I mean, were there other people in the house? I don't know. It could have been a scary story, but it was almost something happened to you. You don't know. I don't know. This one's called, it's only like 2 sentences, so I'll just read it real quick. It was called, We Found a Leg. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. While cutting long lawns along this bike trail, me and a coworker found a mostly decayed, severed from the knee down leg. Cops were called. They questioned us, and we never found out anything more about what happened. Yes, thank you for sharing your non-going anywhere story. That's awesome. Thank you for no information. That's awesome. Oh, that's crazy, Bernadette. 10 minutes left. I mean, I'll still read a few minutes after midnight. It's not going to be over. Duchess, the house I used to live in had a demonic issue. I wanted to send details to a handful of channels, but I think this is the right one. Ooh, dun dun dun. Yes. I'm trying to remember the name. I don't want to get the name wrong. I'm blanking. I don't want to. My brain blanked on what I was going to say, so I'm just going to go read this story called 2 a.m. So, years ago, early 90s. My boyfriend was driving me home and we saw a man lying on the ground in the strangest position, kneeling with his head on the ground at a and bent at a sharp angle so that he faced the street. It was 2 in the morning and the man was covered in sweat with his eyes open. Okay, first thing I think, crack. I don't know about you, but I'm thinking crack. Anyway, moving on. We pulled over and I hopped out of the car to check on this guy. His eyes were wide open and he seemed like his face wasn't moving, but it really felt like he was pleading for help. He didn't respond at all when we called out to him. No blinking, glassy eyes. I reached out to touch him and he was ice cold. I'm sure he wasn't breathing. This was before cell phones, so I hopped back in the car and we sped back to my house to call 911. 10 minutes later, the police called back to ask for the cross streets again. Apparently, they arrived at the corner and there was nothing there. I verified that they had the right spot. They said they would call back if they needed more information, and that was the last I ever heard about it. I checked the newspaper for weeks, but never found out anything else about that man. Man. That's scary. Just because you don't know what happened. Let me see. Check the chat. Check the chat. Sweet. I will look for it. Oh, goodness. Okay, this one's called He's Biting Daddy. Oh, my goodness. So, my 3-year-old, who is normally very happy-go-lucky, was extremely concerned the other day. He kept looking around the room talking about the rhino. Who knows what a 3-year-old might translate as a rhino? This went on for about 20 minutes. He was very concerned and looking around the entire time. So we get to a point where he says the rhino is moving. My wife asks where the rhino is. He's coming to Daddy. Yeah, I'm Daddy, and my ass puckered just a wee bit for that moment. Fast forward about 4 days last night. He starts talking about the ghost. My daughter asks my son, "Where's the ghost?" My son says, "He's biting Daddy." What the actual fuck? Okay. I mean, did you feel someone bite you? It's a little kid. Kids say the craziest stuff, so. 6 minutes. Who's smoking meth? Share. Share. Yeah, okay. Scratching. This one's called scratching. We had quite a large house shaped like an L, but the L was cut into a hill. So the L headed downstairs, which was almost underground. It had windows facing out, but a lot was either in the hill or under another floor. That sounds cool. Anyway, I had the room on the bottom part of the L from 13 onwards. My room had 2 doors, one that opened out to a kind of rumpus room and one to an ensuite bathroom. It was always creepy as fuck, but being a skeptic, I dared anything there to do something to me. I grew up fine, but could never sleep unless both doors were shut. When my parents went away, I'd break the rules and bring my dog in to sleep on my bed. I woke a few times to see her alert and staring at the door to the rumpus room. Occasionally, I'd hear a clawing at the screen on the window, but we had dogs, cats, horses, and local bush turkeys, foxes, etc. I figured if something was there that shouldn't have been, my dogs would have gone ballistic. Fast forward 5 years. Bring a new girlfriend to my home to meet my parents. Slept in my old room. She woke up screaming between 12 and 3 a.m., twice out of the 3 nights we stayed there. Have been with her 5 years since, and it's only happened in that room. She will never sleep in that house again. My parents let my younger sister move into the room about 4 years ago. She asked me recently if I ever heard scratching on the window late at night. Both the dogs we had, plus the cat and horses, are all dead. It's being roughly 10 years later, so the scratching is likely independent of the pets. Unless the local animals are fucking with us. She also said she can't sleep unless both doors are shut, and she'll often put door stops under both doors so she hears either door opened. Okay. She Googled some stuff and decided to sage the room, and she said she's had hectic nightmares since and woke up screaming late at night a few times. For reference, she was about 14 when the night terrors happened with my girlfriend, so we never told her. As I said, I'm a skeptic, but it's still pretty creepy. That's what I meant to say, creepy. Oh my gosh. That could have been told better. I don't know, I almost fell asleep myself to that. Oh, 30 minutes. He's teabagging daddy. Oh, wow. Elvis haunt your house? I mean, that's calming. Some of his music was really relaxing. Oh, no. Was the dream after sage about pork roast? What? I'm going to see if there's like a, I'm sure there's like a live stream of the ball dropping so we can watch it when it happens. Is anybody in a time zone where it's already the new year? Because I think that would already happen like somewhere else, right? Who was like ahead of us time-wise? I don't know how to find like what's live. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hang on. Okay. Let's see. Live now. Times Square. Do you guys want to see the Times Square one? Do you guys watch like the whole thing? If you're like on a different coast, do you guys, okay, you're an hour later. New Zealand? Brian Mathis is in New Zealand. So when is it midnight for you? Oh, this has got like, hang on a second. I will share the screen with you guys and you can see it when I see it. And you can see this. I don't know if it's going to let me like share that with you. 42 seconds until it's New Year's Eve here. Oh, I can't wait. I've never been so excited for the new year as I am right now because 2018 was a year of ups and downs and more downs than ups. So I'm going to tell 2018, thanks for the good, take the bad, shove it up your ass. I'm ready to be done with it. I'm running into 2019. Are you going to come kiss me for midnight? My husband's still awake, but I don't think he's coming in to kiss me. 2, 1. Happy New Year, you guys. Happy freaking New Year. Why did it count down again? Is it counting up? I'm so confused. What happened? That one's counting up. That's so cool. I don't know. You guys have to let me know in the comment section if you've ever been to like New York City to the ball dropping. Happy New Year. We're both awake at the same time on New Year's Eve. It never happens. It's already New Year's Eve. That's not my stream. I'm sharing it with everyone.
Merry New Year!
Are you going to stay in for the read? I'm so happy it's 2019. Oh, I hate 2018. 2018 was like the mean girl. You can move that chair. I just moved it there when I was moving everything around. But I mean, if it's comfortable for you, then stay. Oh, Happy New Year. I feel like I can breathe. It's not even funny. I swear I feel so much better that year is gone. Goodbye. Adios. Did you see that meme today where it was like saying goodbye to 2018 like this, and it's Ross doing him and Monica's like made up swear hand gesture? Oh, look at everybody in the comment sections making friends. Oh, Merry New Year. That's my husband. That's my husband right there. He's the cute one. Hello. I'm so glad you guys are here. Oh, yeah. Thank you for being here. Oh, yay, yay, yay. Pretty soon we should hear fireworks and gunshots outside. A couple of our neighbors aren't there. And the house next door has been for sale / off the market for months now. So, yeah. Was that a 2018 was the dog fart of chronology. Thank you. It was. Hey, Paul Kate. Hello, hello. Happy New Year. Oh, see? Yes, back to your party. Back to your party. Give me a kiss, TT. Give me kisses. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. My dog's in here like, Dad's in here, so I must be in here too. There's nowhere for me to sit. I talk to my dog like a baby because she is my baby. She's my furry baby. Not looking forward to... Oh, yeah, I'm not going to even talk about that. Woo! Okay. Ooh, let's read some more stories. All right. Again, I asked everybody earlier if they had any resolutions, but I call them... I don't have resolutions. I have goals. I have several goals. I already wrote them down. I was writing them down earlier. I have them for the year, and I have them for like tomorrow and like 2 days afterwards. Like I have goals set. Oh, there goes the first one. Was that a gunshot? Was that a gunshot? That was a firework. When I lived in Flint for a short period of time, New Year's Eve was one of those times when you didn't want to be at home. You just wanted to be at someone's house that didn't live in Flint. You just hear the yeah. There's parts of Flint that's like living in a third world country. For sure. Yeah. All right. I'm going to read some more stories. I'm just basking in the relief that the number is 2019 now, and it just feels fan-fucking-tastic. The year of crap is over. Yes. I'm the queen of the world. That's what it feels like. That's exactly what it feels like right now. I feel like this, I'm not even kidding you. It's like the first year where I just wanted to be awake. I wanted to witness it turn 2019 so it could register that it was friggin' over. Like, fuck. Flint and New Year's Eve includes hand grenades. I don't even think that. No, they're too hard to get, and it's too obvious. Plus, one day I was thinking about doing some documentaries about that, because we have to go to Flint a lot as of this year, a lot. But I was thinking about doing a documentary, give you guys some footage and interviewing some people that are still living without clean water in Flint. But yes, all right. Back to some more scary stories, because it's not New Year's Eve yet for everybody else. Happy fucking New Year. Holla friggin' Luya. Onward. This one's called Road Rage. Yes. So I was ambling down an old country highway in northwest Georgia on my motorcycle, 750 Vulcan, when I spotted an ambulance coming the opposite way. I pulled over, and a pickup truck pulled over behind me. In my rearview mirror, I see the passenger get out with a baseball bat and start hustling my way. I didn't even look, just dropped it into gear and hauled ass. What followed was the most harrowing experience I've had in my life as this pickup truck proceeds to chase me all over the place for about 20 minutes. I'm unfamiliar with the area and my bike was not meant for going fast around turns. I've got no room for error and it's all I can do to stay out of in front of these guys. I'm blowing through four-ways intersections in a bid to get some distance and come up with a plan. They are hell-bent on catching me. I finally managed to get pointed toward the highway and into the cover of other cars, but then traffic stops on a bridge. The truck is 3 cars behind me. And I'm thinking if I can just get out to the highway, I'm probably home free because my Vulcan can go fairly fast in a straight line. In my mirrors, I can see the passengers snaking through the cars on the bridge, so I lane split, illegal in Georgia, and make on the on-ramp, hammer down, and I'm gone, baby, gone. Never went back to that town, and as far as I know, this was an unprovoked attack of the hillbilly variety, because prior to the ambulance, I hadn't even seen another vehicle. I don't ride fast, and I don't believe in loud pipes. I got lucky as hell, seeing him come up behind me like that. Whoa, can you imagine that if you saw that? One time, I don't remember, I was doing one of those, scariest things caught on tape thing. And it was like nighttime, one of those was early on when they had like random street cams. And there was a guy sitting in an intersection in his bike in the like go straight or turn right lane. And there was another truck coming up behind him to get in the left turn lane. The light turned green, but the guy in the motorcycle didn't go yet. The truck didn't slow down, but they had a board sticking out of the back of their truck that whacked this guy's head right off. Right fucking off. I was like, what did I just see? Like, there's no amount of convincing me that I want to get on a bike and drive around in the dark at night for that to happen to me because you have nothing, like you're gone. Nothing can save you. Anyway, we've talked about that before. Anyway, let me see. Let's check the chat before I read this next one. I got a picture up here. Me cute girl. Being purposely absurd about Flint. Oh, yeah. I got that sort of thing happened to me. Got chased by a nut. Oh, my God. Yikes. Bye, Angel. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Bye-bye. All right, 3 a.m. walk. So, hold on. Are you okay over there? Okay. My husband's in here with me now. He wasn't in here with me earlier. He looks like he had to go to work today for like half the day. So I think he's kind of tired because it's cold outside and it's rainy here today. Still no snow. Even the snow that we've got is like melted away. Anyway, 3 a.m. walk. So I'm fairly small for a guy. You can take that down if you want. I'm fairly small for a guy, sitting around 5'5". The most I've ever weighed was around 150. About 6 or 7 years ago, I didn't have my license despite being far old enough to drive, but a good buddy of mine wanted to hang out. He too didn't have a way of transport. So we both decided to walk toward one another and meet in the middle. We'd both be walking about 5 miles. It was 3 a.m. on a cold winter night, and I was wearing a black jacket with my hood up. About 2 miles into my hike along the main road, a car pulled into a parking spot of a home I was passing, just a few feet behind me. He wasn't entirely into the driveway, almost halfway hanging out in the road. I half expected it was just a kind stranger wanting to give me a ride. But I wasn't about to take rides from anybody. I kept pacing forward and ignored the car behind me, expecting them to roll down the window and shout at me. It didn't happen. The car just sat at the edge of that driveway, running but completely dark inside to the point that I could only barely make out the figure of a large man. I don't typically get frightened much, but something in the air made me tense up and my heart kind of dropped to my stomach. I stopped and turned to look at the car. I had a feeling that the person driving was watching me intently. The figure in the car was definitely facing me, and I could see the reflection from his dash bouncing off of his eyes. I stared back. I figured he was about to yell out to me, but he just sat quietly in a strangely menacing way that I've only ever seen scenes in movie play out. I kind of did a wave at the figure, letting him know I saw him, and waited for some type of communication in return. He didn't budge, just stared intently, returning to pacing away, slightly brisker. After just a few moments, I could hear the car slowly roll in reverse, so I turned to face it, but kept pacing backwards. The car kept creeping slowly. I pulled down my hood and stood still again, waiting for him to pass me. But instead the man slowed to a stop beside me. The passenger side window rolled down and the man and I met eyes. No words were exchanged at all, and before I could even let out a hello, the man grimaced and accelerated away at a decent pace, almost as if he was disappointed by what he had seen. It doesn't seem like much from how it reads, but I'll never forget how tense that interaction was for me. I've not felt anything like it since. Yeah, he probably thought that he was a chick by the height, because it was dark out and he had all dark stuff on. Thought he was going to take her. Bam! You wrong. Checking the chat. Had to work 12 hours. Okay. This next one is called Haunted Supermarket. I work in a supermarket early shift, and part of my job is changing the shelf labels for the price changes each day. Just this Wednesday gone, I was putting new labels on a shelf of hand soap on them. Oh my gosh. When 2 foot along the shelf from me, a bottle shot off and landed in the middle of the aisle. I looked down the aisle at the colleague, and she shrugs her shoulders and says, happens all the time. I've never directly witnessed anything else, but being one of the first on the shop floor each day, I'm now questioning all the items I see sitting in the aisle first thing and guessing I can't blame untidy customers for all of them. Dun, dun, dun. Ooh. Who's ever worked in a place that was haunted? I'll come back and check that. Asking questions, promoting conversation. That's what I'm doing. Weird guy. My sophomore year in college, I ran into this guy that was a year younger than me. Let's call him Mitch. Mitch and I were acquaintances that ran into the same circles. He was a nice guy, smart and quiet. At parties, he would fold these really cool 3D shapes in the corner instead of interacting. He would always just watch everybody. Anyway, I ran into him at a bus stop and stopped to say hello. We had an awkward chat about our majors. Him, physics, me, chemistry. And I asked if he had any contact with a mutual friend that went into the Army. He said yes. And I said, great. Could you pass him my number? He opened his wallet and pulled out a piece of paper. The only thing in there. It had my name, university address, and my phone number. What? That's terrifying. He didn't have anything else in his wallet. That's fucking crazy. What would you do? I think I would pee a little. Just because I'd be like, well, I wouldn't just look at that though. I'd be like, what the fuck is that? Why would you just have my shit like in your wallet like that? I would immediately be like, that's not okay. You're not okay. Next one's called Murder Basement, but I'm going to check the chat. That's crazy. Oh. Was it Kling? This is called Murder Basement. So I work as a cable tech. I once went into a basement that I still have nightmares about. There was a single pull string type light in the center of the room, so I couldn't really see much until I turned it on. But the walls down the stairway were covered in old newspaper. I'm used to dark basements, so going to turn on a light I was not prepared for what I saw. All the walls were covered in newspaper. Okay, he repeated himself. Every one of them was a headline about a tragedy or a murder. There was a black and white framed picture on the wall, and below it was a large child-sized porcelain doll propped up in a rocking chair with a super old-looking cradle beside it. I stayed and did my job, but I still can't shake that feeling of something when I think about it. And the guy's sign-off name is Invalid Turkey. That's the best part. I should read you guys all these people's names from now on because it's fucking hilarious. Oh my god. Invalid Turkey. Couple. Let's see. We hear strange things in the office, especially the night crew and those of us working weekends, like the filing cabinets opening and closing. That's cool. Yeah, my old workplace, we always saw like people out of the corner of our eye because somebody that worked there died too. They were really young. Also coughing and laughing when I was there. Whoa. Whoa. Oh yeah, Ryan Logan. But I think it's because I'm doing this on New Year's Eve at a different time. I don't normally, but I did try to post it on all those social medias so everybody could see. So this one's called The Matrix. So every few months in a department with over 20 women, we'd all come in nearly identical outfits. It was odd. We were all ages and races and styles, but there'd be a day when everyone would show up in a black skirt and a red blouse. A few months later, everyone in brown slacks and cream-colored dress shirt. A few months later, gray skirt, black sweater. We could never figure out the trigger. Maybe it was TV show character looking fly in that outfit the night before, a visitor to the building who appeared polished. Nothing. Always creeped me out, as it seemed to represent some sort of group think or collective consciousness working on us. Written by Stream Stroller. Maybe there was like subliminals posted all over. Like they were probably some sort of experiment they didn't know about. Like when Jim does that to Dwight with the ding and then gives him a tic tac. Dwight mint. So bad days. I know. The chat thing's just scrolling up. Let me catch up. Okay. This one's titled. This one's written by Solaire Loves Etsis Soup. Okay. And this one's titled, Please Don't Do This at Home. This is a story from my mother. She was home alone for a while and was expecting a friend over, taking a shower. In case her friend came while she was still showering, she left a note on the front door that said, I'm in the shower, come on in. While she was in the shower, she heard a knock on the bathroom door and said, I'll be right out. When she got out of the shower, nobody was there. And a few minutes later, her friend pulled into the driveway. Oh, so trusting. So trusting the other generation was. Next one's titled Intruder. I converted an old Android phone into an IP security cam that starts recording and sends me an email on motion. Set it up before going out of town. One night I got a motion detected email at 3 a.m. In the morning I went through the video. Recording somehow got jammed and it shows a single frame of a weird silhouette standing in front of the door, with the door open. I left it closed, and it was closed when I got back home. Oh, sorry. That was dry throat. Excuse me. That one took me by surprise. That was written by Oguz29279. None of these people want anyone to know who they are, that's for sure. No, Evan, no. Night. Okay. Moving on. The next one's titled A Love Story. Oh. No, that's too cute. I'm skipping it. And it's long. So this one's called Who Was There? I have dogs that bark at anybody. My mother doesn't live with me, nor has a key to my house. About 4 years ago, I'm sitting in my house alone on a day off from work, both my dogs hovering around me, one at my feet, one at the doorway leading into the hallway. It's quiet. I'm Redditing or doing whatever on the internet. I hear my mother's voice clearly say, "Brian," like she was trying to get my attention from across the house. I just perked up my head a little, stunned, thinking I was hearing things. However, my dogs, as soon as I perked up, so did they, and they started growling really fierce in the direction that the voice, with their hair raised, went to inspect the house, but there was nothing there. That was written by Why So Comical. Ooh, the next one looks good. Dun dun dun. If anybody else comes and if anyone else is listening and I didn't say hi yet, hello, welcome. We're reading 67 true scary stories to tell in the dark, and we're somewhere in the middle. I don't know if we'll get all the way through the list. I don't think we will, but I'm gonna go until I lose my voice a little, and it's my trigger to cut it off before I lose my voice all the way. This one's titled Watched. This happened quite a few years ago when I was at uni. My friends and I were living on a ground floor flat, and my room was at the front of the building. Outside my window was the front garden. My boyfriend at the time and I had literally just finished having sex, and I put my head on the pillow and glanced to my right, which is where the window was. There was a gap between the curtain and the window, and I was met with a pair of eyes watching me. We both, me and the peeper, had the instinct to look away and then quickly look back. At this point, I shouted to my ex that there was someone watching us from outside. He jumped, opened the window, and shouted various amusing warnings. He could see that the grass was disturbed so that someone had been there, and by the looks of it, more than once. From further inspection the next morning, we found out that he had jumped the small hedge and exited through my neighbor's garden. And that one's written by Treat Me Like a Table. Ironic because I was talking about sex. Oh my God. Imagine that. You just look up, you just got done, there's somebody staring at you. Gross. Of course, I think there's like a group of people that would enjoy that. So to each his own. Moving on to the next story titled Hospital Ghost. I'm a nurse and I used to work day shift at my old job. I was walking down the hallway with my computer on wheels, COW, to pass meds one afternoon. I was in between two patients' rooms, not really close to either door, and far away from the nurse's station and kitchenette. I could hear one of the physical therapists talking to a patient in one of the rooms, but no one else was in the hallway. I was looking down at my papers to kind of get myself organized before going to see another patient, when all of a sudden in my right ear, like someone was standing right behind me, I heard a female voice say, "I'm cold," in kind of a jokey way. Like someone would do a big shiver and rub their arms and say, "Brr, I'm cold." I turned around thinking it was my friend Brittany goofing around on me, but there was no one there. There was no one in the hallway at all. This one was written by Munin Moraine. Like how I chip her up at the end there. Lots of fireworks now. What's wrong now? Duchess missed all my stories. If you do have stories, I mean, send them because I'm trying to read for everybody. Always heard noises, paper shuffling. For real, like if you really want me to read them, because I'm gonna miss them. If you're telling a whole story in the chat, I'll miss it. I totally will. I'm sorry. I hate being treated like a table. Sorry, that probably went right in someone's ears too when I did that. I prefer being treated like a pinball game, slapped on both sides. What? Jesus. And getting your rod pulled. Oh my God. Oh. Wow. Wow. Okay. This one's titled They Want You to Know They're There. My wife and our two friends are hanging out one evening chatting away. My son and his friend were the son of one of the people we're hanging out with. We're asleep in his room. The four of us hear a blood-curdling yell. I swear it was her son's, and she swears it was my son's voice. She races to the kitchen and into the room to see what happened. Nothing. They were sound asleep. She comes back through the kitchen to tell us and freezes in terror. Every single door and drawer is open. 23 of them. In the 10 seconds that she was out of the kitchen, everything was opened. 6 of them are high enough to be out of reach to everyone except for me. Needless to say, we didn't sleep too well that night. This one was written by I Camp to Cook. I gotta pay attention to those. If you have stories you want to send to me, send them to duchessdark676@gmail.com. It's also in the description box and in the about section of the channel description as well. Yes, I can't wait to read them. I would prefer to read your stories over people's stories that I don't know who they are. This one's titled Toilet Ghost. As a child, I walked into the toilet in my great-grandfather's house. I'd lived with him for a while, and he was sitting on the toilet and had not locked the door. I sputtered out an apology as I backed out and shut the door. Then I stood on the other side of the door and realized that he had died some time before. Shook my head and went back into the empty toilet. I've never really forgotten that feeling of, well, that simply is not real. This one was written by Pedantichrist. Okay. I wonder how long it took for them to come up with that one. Pedantichrist. Like Antichrist or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. Weird. Where's the timer? It's already midnight. It's 29 minutes past my midnight ace glaze. Eastern Standard Time. But who are you? 31 minutes for whoever's in the next time zone. We can count it down each time if you guys want to. I think I'll make it to the next New Year's Eve, though. This one's titled Wii, like Nintendo Wii. We have a Wii. The sensor bar is on the toilet TV stand directly in front of the TV, as is anyone's. Or if you're rich, you have one in your toilet, too. Anyway, so we don't have the cord wrapped up or anything. It just hangs behind the TV in a jumble. One night we're watching TV cuddled on the couch when suddenly the Wii sensor bar literally flies across the room till it got to the end of its length and fell to the floor, like someone had grabbed it and chucked it across the room. We couldn't find any explanation for this whatsoever. We had a cat and a dog at the time, but the cat was sleeping in another room, and the dog was on the couch with us. This one was written by In the Grotto 87. All right. Titled Patio Lunch. Was out at lunch in Midtown Atlanta with some coworkers. We sat out on the patio. There are some high-rise condos right across the street. Some guy jumped from his 40th floor balcony and splattered all over the roof of someone's Jetta. Everything went everywhere. The noise was pretty memorable as well. We noped the fuck out of there before ordering, and it was a super silent ride back to work. One of my coworkers said he won't sit on patios anymore when he's eating. think it'd be kind of hard to sit out on a patio at all for a long time. Like, ugh. This one is appropriately named Incognito at Work. That's terrifying. Just Matt, yeah. You just go to lunch and then that happens. Yeah. There's still a lot of fireworks going on here. Like a lot. What's illegal? I'm missing so much in the chat, but I'm glad everyone's having a good time. I hope you guys are having a good time. I'm glad everyone's safe too, because if you're chatting here, that means you're not out drinking and driving or getting hit by someone who's drinking and driving. You know what the sad truth is somebody will still get in a fucking drinking and driving accident tonight. And I'm never we have this conversation all the time, like it's illegal to drink and drive, but every bar has a parking lot. It's set up for you to die, basically. But then there's still people that bitch about like weed. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. Anyway, this one's titled Creepy Student. I'm a teacher of adult students, and one student of mine is kind of intense and creepy. Actually, she's based at another school, but specifically started attending classes at my school after meeting me. When I first started, she kept giving me welcome presents, as I was new to the country. Just simple things like food, postcards, and books, which was a nice idea, but it seemed a little excessive. She added me on social media, then got upset when I didn't reply to her constant messages. I told her that I don't really use social media. Anyway, I didn't see her for a few months and figured she'd just gone back to her own school or stopped studying or whatever, and was relieved that she clearly got bored of me. But then last week, she comes in and gives me an envelope full of photos of me during lessons that she'd taken, without me knowing. This one was written by Anti-Sarcastics. Ooh. Can you imagine that? That's creepy. Creepy, creepy. It's illegal. It's so early in Cali. Oh. You know what, though? I don't smoke anything because I can't stop. I would never stop coughing. It's legal where I live. There's no stigmatism to it. I'm going to do an entire video on it, too, because there's so many things about it, but I'm not going to get on a weed tangent. Will you make a video like Asian and Mexican ghost stories? Yes, I really want to. Meow, 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 meow. Haha. That's funny. Oh, if I smoked anything, I'd probably never be able to stop coughing. Plus, it would mess with my voice. But there's many other ways to ingest that. You have drops, you have edibles. Anyways, this next one is titled Found. Was working in an office pretty late. 100% sure I was the only one there. The AC system shuts down at like 7 p.m. And until it does, you don't notice how much noise it was actually making. The office got extremely quiet, which is unsettling to begin with, and I had my office door closed. About 30 minutes later, I hear the muted voice of a little girl with a heavy British accent say, "Mommy, I think he's in this one." No, I live in the American South, so there's no good reason for a British child to be there. Almost shit my pants as the door cracked ever so slightly until a real live little girl popped her head in and says, "Nope, wrong one, sorry." Turns out her American stepfather was still in the building. This one was written by Motley Brew. You can always send your requests too. But I have been wanting to do, was it Japan and Mexican? Asian. Okay. Yeah, I would in a dark building late at night by yourself. But some people really like that, so they can be by themselves and concentrate. But um, this one's called Haunted Clocks. At our old house, the clock on my nightstand always jumped ahead by 5-minute increments every few days. I'd change it out. Electric, battery powered, any clock that was on my nightstand would do it. Watched our room to make sure no one was messing with me. It was just weird. That one was written by Focus Lee. But next one, he wasn't asleep. Dun dun dun. I often visit Walmart in the wee hours of the morning. One time I went in about 2 a.m. and noticed an elderly gentleman asleep on one of the mobility scooters at the entrance. Oh no. Oh no, I know what's going to happen. When I left about 20 minutes later, he was still there. Thought it was a little odd no one from the store had woken him up, but whatever. Found out the next day he had died and spent the better part of a day on display as a corpse at the entrance to Walmart. This one is titled Bum Bum Bum. That's written by Bum Bum Bum. Oh, poor little guy. Nobody noticed he was there. That makes me feel bad. That's terrible. Do crappy pastas. If you have any recommendations, please send them to me. Corpses on scooters. Start up and start driving him all over the place, and he'd be like bumping into people. Oh my! Can you imagine that? And it's not scary. I just feel bad because it just feels like so disrespectful of someone who passed away. Oh my god. Okay, this was titled Dead Cats. Years ago when I was a senior in high school, I had a day there what I wasn't feeling so great. So I decided, as I occasionally did, to skip out on my last 2 classes and head home. That meant no school buses, obviously, so I just walked the 3 miles home. Before the age of computer cell phones, this was a pretty long, boring hike to take, so I decided to take a shortcut through some small wooded trail along the creek. Red flag number one. Eventually, I came across a dead cat lying in the middle of the trail. Noticed another dead cat to my left. Looked to my right. Sure enough, another dead cat. Creeped out, I looked behind me and noticed 2 more. Yet another 2 in front of me. They were all laid out in a giant circle with one in the middle. Almost like a half-assed pentagram. I sped up the pace and got the hell out of there. Never took that trail again. Thinking back, it was a really weird thing that there was no visible damage to any of the cats. No blood or cuts. Ooh. This one's titled PM Me Bass Guitars. I still have a really lengthy story from Brian I haven't read yet, too. I still have that, Brian. I know you had one for the contest, but you had another one that you had sent before that I never got to. I believe. I'm going to check my folder. I was just cleaning out my office today, so. This next one is titled Yikes. I worked for Radio Shack back in the late 90s, and I was scheduled to open on a Saturday morning. I go in the door, lock up behind me, and go to the back to get things ready. Only to see my boss sitting at the chair in the back with his tie around his neck and tied up to an inventory rack with his pants around his ankles. And he's dead with his still erect dong in his hands. I'm not trying to laugh at that, but that is the day I started drinking heavily. And this is written by Mean Drunk R2D2. I'm sorry, does that make me a bad person that the whole thing makes me laugh? I think I would make R2D2 noises if I walked in on someone who took their own life. They were doing autoerotic asphyxiation and they died during it. Oh my god, gross. Oh, dong is that's messed up. I know. Wow. What's that thing that happens when R2D2 gets upset? That's a noise that I would make anyway. Just because I wouldn't know what other noise to make. Oh. Oh, that next one looks sad just by glancing at it. I'm going to skip it. This one, no. That one was really, really long too. Okay. This one's titled Cat. I'm entering a disclaimer. It was not a mountain lion. I live in the sticks in Michigan, but a decent-sized neighborhood with about 20 houses. Our street makes 2 circles. I was home with my toddler, who was taking a nap. I'm on my back porch drinking coffee around noon. There's a piercing scream that seems to last at least 30 seconds. I'm startled, so I go out to my fence and walk up my driveway to look around. There's a man hauling ass down the street, cradling his arm and dripping blood on the concrete. He sees me and shouts, "Did you see that fucking cat? Which way did it go?" I saw no animal. I asked if he needed help, but he declined, saying an ambulance was on its way and just needed to find the cat. Perplexed, I pulled off my long sleeve and handed it to the guy, telling him to at least wrap his injury. He holds up his arm and fingers are mangled. I say, "A house cat did this to you?" as gently as I can while I wrap his hand. He says, "This wasn't a regular cat. We just have to find him." So I help him look. Ask a few of our neighbors. Ambulance arrives a few houses down. At his place, we walk down and sit on the curb. Suddenly, commotion from the other way, and half a dozen people sprinting to the cul-de-sac to corner this animal. And it disappears around the house, and we hear a volley of barking. Another man comes from behind the house, running at full speed toward the ambulance. I'm still sitting with the bloody guy, and running guy gives him a tissue. I almost fainted and probably would have if I were standing in the bloody guy's thumb and first finger with a bit of tissue and nasty. Oh, we never caught the cat, and I didn't get a good look at whatever it was to figure it out. Bloody guy said he was weeding his garden when this giant black fuzzy thing with teeth and a tail chomped his hand under the bush and ran. He tried to follow it, but it was too fast. He said it stood taller than his knees, and he was like 6'5". Got his digits stuck back on properly, though, and has since fenced his backyard. Honestly, though, that could have been anything.
Yeah, took off Meowth.
Took off Meowth. This was written by Bertha Jew. I don't even... Honestly, it could have been any kind of, like a badger could have done that. Doesn't that sound like a badger, though? They're really mean. And he just said he was living in Michigan, right? Aren't we known for having badgers here or Wolverines? Yeah, that would be the that's nah. Come on, just for a second, don't tell a joke. But seriously, would that be something like a Wolverine would do? Or like a badger? I asked the chat. If anybody knows, chime in, animal experts. Bobcat would be bigger than your knee, though. But they're not normally black, aren't they? Normally they're like a tan color. Or it also could have been a cat with rabies, though. But he said this guy was 6'5", and it was by his knees. That's a very tall cat. Like, yeah, I can't picture it. The guy also could have been high. I don't know. Wild raccoon on drugs. But you have to think like a coon is only like, I mean, if it's on its feet, it's only going to be like mid-calf, tallest. Anyway, moving on. 15 minutes for the next time zone. We're going to call it quits after the next time zone. So let's This one's called Stacy. I was dating a girl in high school. Let's call her Stacy. During senior year, we got senior release during lunch, which meant we could leave school during our lunch period. Being horny teens, we went back to her house and she started giving me a BJ. Suddenly, we both hear someone call out, "Stacy." We both jumped up and got dressed. No one was home. Both her parents were at work and her other siblings were at school. We looked outside and no neighbors were outside. To this day, we have no idea who or what it was, but we both heard it. Written by Mr. Belch. A dirty bobcat, a dirty cat. Oh. Cats can't bite your hand off. Well, if they had rabies, they could. Toxoplasmosis? What's going on? Oh my God. You're toasted good. That's good. This next one's titled Haunted Tattoo Shop. Worked in a tattoo shop where two of the past owners had died. One of them had just died a block away from the shop. It was a long rumor that the shop was haunted or cursed. Weird stuff would happen, like speakers or decorative knives falling off shelves overnight and smashing through our glass-topped light table, and the lights would flicker on and off. One night, I was alone in the shop tattooing some 18-year-old kid, and the light above me started flickering. My lights above my station had always been perfectly lit, so this seemed unusual. It was flickering so much that it started getting annoying, and I began to feel nervous, even though I didn't really believe the shop was haunted. Finally, after a few minutes of this, I stopped tattooing for a second, looked up the light, and said in my head, "Okay, dead shop owner's name. I get it. You're here. Can you stop messing with my light, please?" It was supposed to be kind of a joke. The light stopped flickering instantly. It went back to shining regular old light, and I went back to tattooing pretty shaken up. From that moment, I knew the dead shop owner was there, and I knew he was just causing occasional mayhem to fuck with us. Nothing malicious, but definitely haunting the place. This one's titled Me Keat. That's who wrote it. Anyway. The next one is titled People Are Scarier Than Ghosts, so that should be pretty good. You got the New Year's bathroom trots? Oh. That chair's uncomfortable, I know that. This one's titled People Are Scarier Than Ghosts. She scared the cat. There you go. My dog, when she comes in you guys know, if you've been here before, that my dog's scared of my cat, who's usually like in my room across the hall from the office, taunting the dog because she's going to swipe at her and hiss at her. Oh, it's snowing. 2019, it's finally snowing. It's going to melt. It's too warm. Okay, so I used to work at a Boy Scout summer camp. Every week, I had to take a big group of campers to a secluded spot for their wilderness survival badge, where they had to build a shelter out of sticks, leaves, etc., and sleep in it overnight. The spot was only about a half a mile from the main camp, but we took them to a circuitous. I don't know that word. Anyways, we made it seem really secluded. So, anyway, on this one night, all the campers had made their shelters. We had cooked dinner. We're all just sitting around the campfire. It was getting late, maybe 11 o'clock. So I sent all the campers to their shelters for the night and started cleaning up the fire. That's when I heard in the distance what sounded like church bells. They were pretty faint, but myself and my fellow staffers could definitely hear them. They went on for about 30 minutes, ringing over 30 seconds or so. We were all a little creeped out as there were no churches or towns within 20 miles of us. After the bells stopped, though, the singing started. It was too faint to hear the words, but it sounded like church choir music. But a lot of people, and a lot more enthusiastic. Also, it was midnight at this point, and the singing went on for well over an hour, sometimes quieting down until we almost couldn't hear it, sometimes getting so loud we thought it was getting closer. All the campers were super creeped out, but I lied to them, telling them there was a church service going on in the camp and that there was nothing to be scared of. Eventually, at 1 a.m., the singing stopped. I found out a few days later that there had been a large KKK rally only a few miles away that night, and that's what we heard. That was written by Willie D, and that is terrifying. Oh my God. Oh, yikes. Yikes. Oh. Oh. Oh, hey, Wannalee. Aw. Thankfully, ours aren't, 4th of July is terrible, too. What's bad is it starts like 2 weeks before 4th of July and keeps going, even though you're not supposed to. But the fireworks have seemingly stopped here, so I'm thankful. Aw, poor puppers. This one's called Coworker Apparition. This isn't creepy, but it gave me pause for thought. I was returning to my office, having finished a meeting. As I approached the door, I saw my colleague walk from the left of the office to the right, presumably returning to his desk. As I entered the office, I started to say, "Hey, Matt," and stopped abruptly upon the realization that there was nobody else in the office with me. Not sure what exactly I witnessed, but it was clear enough and detailed enough to convince me 100% that my colleague would be in there. This one's written by Most Best Interneter. That's an assumption, isn't it? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Aww. 7 minutes. We'll count it down when it gets closer for you guys, too. Woo! Hope you guys are having a good time. I'm glad no one's out getting hurt. This one's titled, At Least It Wasn't the Other Way Around. A few months ago, I had this really scary dream that seemed so real. In my dream, I was in my bed doing something on my laptop. Suddenly, I just had a bad feeling something wasn't right. Like I somehow knew something was in my room with me that shouldn't be there. I jump off my bed, hurry and flip my light on. I flip it on just in time to see this weird black shadow sphere thing with legs zoom under my bed. I woke up scared and crying. But it felt so real, and I just knew whatever I saw was very evil. So the next day, me and my dad were watching TV when one of those ghost shows like My Ghost Story on TV. In the episode, this woman was in her room, and all of a sudden she felt something wasn't right. She turned her light switch on just in time to see a weird black shadow sphere thing with legs scurry under her bed. It pretty much looked exactly like the thing I saw in my dream, and I flipped the fuck out. This one's written by New Account Sauce. I love these names. These are awesome. Oh my goodness. Is everyone still there? I'd like to get so good at an English accent that no one would be able to tell the difference. Anyway, this one's titled, But Then Who Was on the Phone? So I was working late in the lab at school. I had to grab something from an upstairs classroom. It's after midnight and the entire building was empty and dark. Suddenly the phone in the classroom starts ringing. So after that heart attack, I decide to answer it. Silence. Not even a dial tone. So I hope out and go back to my nope out. I think they meant to write nope out. So I nope out and go back to my dorm. The next day I have class in that room. So I ask my professor how often people call the classroom phone by mistake. He looks at me funny and says the phone in that room has been disconnected for years. That was written by Pinion Gear. Ooh, 4 minutes to go. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, the wine gets me sleepy, plus I'm at the age you sleep early. The murder chair. Took my 3-year-old daughter on a hiking trail through some local woods. I let my daughter lead the way, and she chose to turn up a path that was far less well-traveled than most of the trails in the area. About 10 or 15 minutes on this relatively overgrown and barely there trail, heading deeper into a more isolated portion of the forest than I'd ever been to previously. We came across a grisly sight. A white plastic lawn chair tied to a tree by a rope. The seat covered in splatters of day-old, dry, viscous blood. There's a link. I'm going to see if it'll open. But it says I snapped a pic and then picked my daughter up and noped the fuck right out of there. I'm going to see if this pic loads. If it does, oh no. It won't let me see it, so it's probably a good thing. After that fact, I've come to a far less creepy explanation for what we saw, but in the moment it was creepy as fuck. That was written by Octavian X. Yikes. I was kind of hoping I'd be able to share that picture with you guys, but there was nothing there. It wouldn't let me see it. Sorry. Let's see what this one is. The Crow. Ooh, it's 12:58. 2 minutes. Let me see if there's a countdown. Let me see if there's a countdown. Let me see if there's a countdown for you, baby. Oh. Yeah, there was no pic, sorry. Shit, it's 2 minutes new here. Oh. Let me see. Live New Year's Eve. It's loading slowly. Let's see if it's New Year's Eve. There we go. So if they only do it on the East Coast and the West Coast, what happens to, like, you guys in the middle? Is there another ball drop somewhere? Or do you watch a recorded version of it? How does that work? Oh. Try to see if there's a countdown. I don't see another countdown. There's a Fortnite ball drop. Do we have a counter? Oh, Happy New Year! Happy New Year, next time zone. Woo! Happy New Year! Happy New Year! I can feel it, like each layer, I'm going to feel like a less 2018s floating away. Like when, yes, float away for me. Shoo! Goodbye, 2018. Suck it! 2019 is the year of everyone. I feel like it's going to be a better year for everybody. I don't even care if that sounds ridiculously optimistic. I'll take that. I'll take it because I feel like it's going to be a great year for everybody. That's the vibe I'm putting. I'm wishing that for everybody because I just truly believe it. Going to be a good year. Going to be a good year. Going to be a good year. Oh, yep. Laura Labs, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Laura. Happy New Year. Not English. I just really wish I had a cool accent like that. Or any kind of cool accent. Of course, I realize I probably have an accent to someone here. This decade is almost over. Damn time flying by. Yeah. Dang whippersnappers. Sitting on my porch drinking country time lemonade. Yes. Goodbye, 2018. Goodbye, I hate you so much. 2018. Yeah. We are in the Eastern time zone. That is the most extreme east in the US. That's true. What did Kling say? Bling. Oh. Your dog's sitting on your head. Oh no. Oh. Well, if you just joined us, let us know what your, I call them goals for the next coming year are. I have a lot of big goals set for myself and a few small ones. It's an overall thing. So, yes. Oh yeah, I guess that's true, cats. Everyone has an accent to someone else. Yeah, if you're in a different country, then that's definitely true. Cats hails from Mexico. That's pretty cool. I just love that we can like get on here and just be talking in totally different places in the world. I just love that. Love it. It's awesome. Gonna quit smoking. That's a good one. That affects so many things. One day at a time, man. That's hard. Wisconsin watches Chicago and Madison ball drop. Okay, I was wondering about that. I couldn't find one. I know I just only know what I know, which is New York time drop, New York ball drop, and then I know that the West Coast has one too, and then it, kind of echoes from there, but they don't really televise like other ones. But I guess I'm not looking for it either because I'm not in that time zone. Mm. You'll save so much money too, and you're gonna smell better. You won't even, I used, when I was younger, I smoked, and I tell you this, when you actually do quit smoking, your mouth will always water when you smell it, but you won't be able to smoke anymore. When you're truly done smoking, it'll make you feel like you want to die. When you smell someone else light up a cigarette, you'll want one. But when you smell cigarettes on someone else for a long time, it'll make you, ugh. You will not be able to stand it. Thought Cats was British. Oh, goodness. All right. We've got a couple more to do, and then we're going to call it a night or call it a new year. Woo! God, I feel pumped. I feel like I just had a bunch of caffeine. Woo! This one's titled The Crow. I was working with a young client with childhood onset schizophrenia. This individual was a harm to themselves and others. My back was to the window in my office when they started screaming, "The man in the black is here. He followed me. No, no." And as I'm trying to calm them down, they start to sob. "He's at the window. I can hear him. He says he wants to hurt you. He'll come in here and take your skin off. He wants you dead." I'm trying to calm them down, move them through the plan we had when they're overcome by hallucinations. When I hear tapping on the window, there's an enormous black crow at the window, tapping on the glass extremely hard with his beak. And the bird was just staring at me. It would tap, bringing its head back and slamming its beak into the glass, then stare over and over again. I got the client calmed down and we ended. The bird was still there. We leave the office. The bird was still there when I came back. Next client comes in. Bird was still there. And that bird sat at my window another 4 hours, staring and tapping. That one was written by Lustful Gumby. Woo! My son quit, then started again. Oh. Oh. Good night, Crow. Yeah. John Marsico. Oh, hey. Yes. It it made me almost die a death, and several other people. I actually did. It was a bad year. I'm glad it's over. My next live stream, I'm trying to do these once a week now so I can give more give another video in the week instead. So next Monday or Tuesday. Somebody said they wanted it on Monday so they had something to look forward to on Monday. But again, I'll do a poll. That's why I'm doing this tonight, because I asked if you guys wanted to do a live stream into the new year. So the majority said yes, and that's what we did. 2018 is dead and gone. Woo woo. Yes. Yes. Excellent. This next one's called Peeping Tom. I don't know if this counts because I was too young to actually remember this happening. But one day, when I was in elementary school, my mom picked my brother and I up from school and we stopped to play at a local park on the way home. We ended up leaving early because there was a sketchy truck parked there, not in the parking lot. And my mom was a little uneasy about it. Later that night, my mom was getting ready for bed and screamed because there was a guy peering through her bedroom window. My dad ran outside, but the guy was gone already. A month or so later, we were watching America's Most Wanted, and my mom recognized one of the guys as the guy who had been peering through her window. His truck was identical to the sketchy truck she had seen at the park. He had murdered his girlfriend's parents. Girlfriend and brother were stabbed but survived. This one was written by Bare Shoulder Heathen. Oh boy. Oh. All right. I'm going to do a couple more and then we're going to call it a night. But if you're new here, you can scroll back to the beginning and listen. We've been reading and haven't gotten through 67 true scary stories to tell in the dark. This one is titled Benign Ghost. Almost every night, my TV turns on by itself at some point between 3 and 5 a.m. I used to think that maybe it was one of my cats who walked across the remote, but I tried hiding the remote, putting it places they couldn't get to, and it still happens. Now I just turn the sound down all the way before I go to bed, and the TV will still get turned on, but at least I won't be woken up by it. I'm sure there's some reasonable explanation for it, but I rather like the idea of having a benign ghost who likes late night TV living in my tiny apartment with me. This one was written by Lyleby. That is got to be the loneliest thing. Like, I just unplug the TV, then see if it happens. Then throw out said TV if it keeps happening. I don't know what to say. Poltergeist. Have you not seen Poltergeist? Ah. It looks like everyone's like, are you guys wrapping it up? Oh no. What are you doing to me? Where are you going? I'll read one more and then we'll call it a night. Sound good? Sound fair? We're going past 2 hours now. Ooh. That was sad. A little bit, yes. There's two short ones, and I'll read those, and then we're going to call it a night. So the first one's called Shooter. I had a customer come into my work wearing a trench coat and a Ushanka type hat. Looked to have something strapped to his shirt under the coat with duct tape. He left. I messaged my wife about how creepy he was and that I thought he had a bomb on his chest. He came back 15 minutes later and thanked me for being polite and started talking about religion and Obama and how he was the Antichrist. The guy, not Obama. Turns out he was on his way to shoot up the Planned Parenthood, and he managed to kill 3 people. This was written by Yazar1234. This next one is titled The Universe Turned Off. About 3 years ago, my old roommate and I were just hanging out in our living room, watching a show or something in the middle of the day, when all of a sudden, for like a split second, everything went pitch black. Like everything. It wasn't a power outage or our TV remained on and there were no blinking clocks. It was more as if the universe just turned off for half a second. As if this utterly unparalleled experience wasn't enough on its own. My roommate looked over at me right after it happened and said, "Did you see that?" This one is written by I'm Mr. Meeseeks. Look at me. Okay. And with that, we're going to be wrapping it up now. So if you just tuned in, we read True Scary Stories. We rang in 2 different New Years, and we hung out to make sure everyone survived getting the hell out of 2018 in one piece. Thank God that fucking year is over. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Not being sarcastic if you're religious here. I'm not downing it. It's just, but yeah. Thank God it's over. Oh no, Bernie. I don't think I can make it to 2 o'clock. But if you just got here, John, go back to the beginning. You can hear all the stories because I'll leave this up. But thank you for coming. I hope this is everyone. Thank you. And I hope this is everyone's best year yet. Yours included, because 2018 was mother clucker. Can tell you that. Here's to an awesome 2019. And if you're new here, you don't know how we say goodbye here. We like to do a little nod to the Kardashians, how they say goodbye to each other as if so lovingly sarcastic. And not that, we'll say, Happy 2019. Bye. 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 Love you. Bye.